You ever have those moments where you just need to sort of step outside of a situation to better understand exactly what's going on? That's what this guy's here to talk about. Welcome back to Tarot Tuesday. Today we are talking about the Hanged Man, which is the 12th card in the Major Arcana. Now this card, while I will talk about it in terms of itself, I do want to mention number 13, the card that comes just after this one, is the Death card. And so the two really feed into each other nicely if you think about the Fool's Journey. Let's talk about the meaning of this card before we get into the artwork, because in this case, the artwork doesn't actually tell you everything you need to know. Understanding where this card is in the progression of the Fool's Journey helps you better understand the meaning as well. This card comes just before death. It comes just after justice. What the Hanged Man is trying to communicate is we've gathered a lot of information. We've been working really hard. We've got a lot of things going for us. That's a little bit of what justice informs. There's a lot that we know, a lot we're working through and figuring out. The card that comes after is death, which means that there's an end to something, a change that's coming. So what the Hanged Man tells us is there's a transition that needs to happen between gathering all that information, working real hard, churning and chugging away, and change. There's something that comes in between. And what is that? In this case, it's surrender. And that is what you really see when you look at this artwork. Now let's take a closer look at the face of the Hanged Man. You would think for somebody who's suspended by their foot from a tree that they would have some look of pain, some discomfort. But actually what we see here is a calm serenity in his face. Why is that? Well, if we look at his foot, the one that is suspended from the tree, we'll see that if he's only got one foot suspended there, it means that he's actually kind of free to move around. He could easily sit up and untie himself. It's not that somebody put him there, he put himself in this position. The Hanged Man hung himself from this tree. Why? Well, let's understand. We're assuming that this is a tree that he's hanging from because it is alive. It has this T-frame. We don't see where it's coming from, but again, the tarot is all about symbolism. So imagine this tree is the tree of knowledge. He's hanging himself from this tree because he wants to gain some knowledge and gain some perspective. And that's the key word there, really, perspective. By flipping himself upside down, he's able to look at a situation in a different way. He's able to see things in a way that he couldn't before. And that's really where that golden halo comes into the artwork here. The golden halo represents that new knowledge, that new insight that he is gaining by shifting his perspective on the world. The colors of his clothes, some people have attributed those colors to the material existence of human beings, which is the red color, those passions that really make us human, as well as the blue representing knowledge and a larger spiritual connectedness. You can read into those colors as you see fit. I think it just has to do with the colors available at printing and the theme of the tarot itself, but that's another story. When you see the Hanged Man in a reading, it means that you're probably pushing and struggling at achieving something and just not seeing a lot of results. And no matter what you try to do, it's like you can't get anywhere. So the Hanged Man is telling you, you know what? Let's stop. Let's take a break, step away, back away, and try to look at it from a new perspective, because there's something that you're missing, which is why it's not working out for you. The Hanged Man really allows us to see the big picture when we've been in the weeds. It helps to pull us out of that. And you can think about this too, because we don't know how far down this tree goes. He could be hanging a mile high and see his entire world below him, but he can see it in a totally different way. So this is really helping us get information in a way that we only could by taking a step back, surrendering, resting, and allowing ourselves to see things in ways that we haven't before. And like I mentioned, it's important to understand this card in relation to the cards around it. So the next card being death means something will end and something new will begin, which implies that the insight that the Hanged Man is achieving by putting himself in this position will lead to greater change, which will lead to progress, which will lead to something new. As always, I give you the reversal meanings. If you see the Hanged Man in reverse, it's almost like a refusal to see things from a different perspective. It's an interesting card because the reverse looks like what you would expect the upright to be, because you expect to see someone standing upright. But in actuality, this is the upright of the Hanged Man. He is hanging upside down. So when you see it reversed like this, it can be confusing and jarring for you as a reader. But that is meant to be that way because it implies some of the energy of what's coming into that reading. It implies that the person coming through is, they should be doing things differently, but they're not, and they're refusing to see things in a different way, even though they're trying, and they're not really allowing surrender and inaction to take place. This really is a card of inaction. It's about stopping, taking yourself out of the game. So this is, in a way, yeah, we've stopped, but we're not really out of the game because we're still upright. We're still able to see everything. We're still able to monitor everything. This is not going to help you. This will help you. So if you read reversals, you can understand it in that way. It's sort of a refusal to do what you need to do to move past the state that you're in. So that is the Hanged Man. I hope you've enjoyed this Tarot Tuesday. We'll see you next time.